Little Beth Media. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 74 of The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com. Ellis Langford and Bill Stine of Estes are both here on the program. We're going to be talking about the current state of Estes and the future of Estes Industries. That's all happening right after this message on TheRocketryShow.com.
Introducing Mach 1 Rocketry, the creators of a new line of fiberglass kits with amazing designs and solid construction that'll last a lifetime. Mach 1 Rocketry, the fiberglass specialists. We don't make anything else. Now you can fly low power with less worries about crashes in wet weather. Check out our BT-sized kits with filament-wound airframes and 1/16-inch G10 fins and G10 centering rings. These rockets are tough enough to take the punishment of many flights. And when you're ready to step up to high-power rockets, Mach 1 Rocketry has a complete line of exciting new fiberglass kits. Check out old favorites and great new designs as well, like the Black Hole, an instant classic, easy to build, tough, and inexpensive. The Triple Crown of Rockets from Mach 1 Rocketry, the only manufacturer of fiberglass BT-sized rockets in the world. Visit us online at Mach1Rocketry.com. That's Mach, the number 1, Rocketry.com. Kits by flyers, for flyers. Step up today.
The Rocketry Show is also brought to you by the following patrons: Les Rayburn, Stephen Spencer, Bill Cook, Jason Cook, Gary Rosenfield, Jesse Yu, T. Vanderbeek, Michael Pitfield, Eric Hamilton, John Beans, Charlie Savoy, Eric Gonzalez, Tom Rum, and Adam Lewis. Did you know patrons of The Rocketry Show now make up the majority of the funding for our program? Become one today. Visit patreon.com/The Rocketry Show.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
You're listening to The Rocketry Show.
All right, lift off and the clock has started. Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear.
If it makes fire, smoke, lots of noise, and flies into the heavens, then these guys are all about it. Here are CG, Jim, and the Rocket Noob.
Welcome to another edition of The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com. And boy, do we have an exciting episode here. This is something we've been dreaming about for quite some time, and Jim has taken it up on his mission to make it happen. And so, Jim, I'll leave it to you to tell us, what do we have going on in this episode here?
We have a very special couple of guests. We have from Estes Industries, we have Ellis Langford and Bill Stine of Estes to talk a little bit about everything that's going on. That's what we've been working on for a while, and they've graciously accepted to come on and tell us a little bit about what's going on and their vision and everything Estes.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Happy to be here.
There's so many questions about what happened. I think I'll just jump right in that because we've gotten a lot of questions from our listeners that what happened when Estes, there was the Hobbyco bankruptcy, which we all know about, and that's kind of history right now. But can you tell us a little bit about what was going on in your minds when you were thinking about possibly picking up the mantle of Estes and what that meant for you and the future of rocketry in general?
Sure. So I'll start. My name is Ellis, and I've been flying rockets my whole life. I started. My father flew rockets when he was a kid in the '60s, and then I started flying fairly smart. I flew my first rocket when I was 3, and then started flying a little more seriously about 9 or so, and then I started entering NAR competitions when I was 10, and then flew competitively for a few years there, won a couple of national championships, and got involved with the U.S. international team, went to a couple of the internats in Eastern Europe, and then I got sidetracked by things like going to college.
Little things.
But yeah, I know, minor things. And then I got involved in aeronautical engineering, and had been peripherally involved. I fly rockets occasionally, and but mostly I was more involved with airplanes until we heard that Estes was for sale. That we had actually looked at it when Hobbyco um, bid and won the bid last time. And then so they went back to all the people that had been interested in 2009, and they said, "Hey, are any of you still interested?" And so we thought about it, and we said yes. That we were in a different place. That this time we were interested as a family business. That like I said, I've flown rockets my whole life, and it's been a big impact on me. And so I wanted to be able to have, basically have rockets still be around. That Estes is a really cool company. It's been around for 60 years, and my family's goal is to make sure that it's around for 60 more.
That's music to the ears of a lot of people out there, I'm sure. It is to me.
We are so glad. I have to say, I mean, bankruptcy doesn't always mean that a company's going out of business, but it can sometimes. And as a person who had just been 4 years in the hobby and it had really changed my life, and a person who I can be a bit of a Debbie Downer sometimes. And I thought to myself, gosh, I don't know what's going to happen here. And if Estes goes away, then the hobby's going to go away eventually, because Estes is how everybody gets their start. And so when your family bought the company, it was like the best thing. I mean, not to make light of the Hobbyco bankruptcy, which did affect a lot of people, but it's the best thing that could have happened to this hobby is for your family to get the chance to buy the company, because I feel like for you, it's something that you actually care about. You care about rocketry. You care about the hobby. It's more than just a property in a portfolio for you. And I know that when I heard the news, I was ecstatic. I think everyone was, and so since then I've really wanted to talk to you and just to hear what you've got, coming down the pipeline and what you're excited about. So thank you for saving the entire hobby of rocketry, which is pretty much the way I feel about it.
Well, it's we're glad to be here. Thank you. It's true. I mean, some of the other pieces of Hobbyco did go away.
Right.
But look, one of the things about this is that Estes was propping up the rest of Hobbyco to a significant extent. That certainly there were problems, but we looked at it, and while it is something that we love, it's also it is still a business, and we're running it as a business, and that's the way that you maintain it for 60 more years is that you maintain it as a profitable ongoing business. We're not looking to you can't be extracting all of the money. Some of the people here call some of the previous owners robber barons, but you also, we've done a lot of internal investment. You should be seeing a lot of new kits. There's new tooling, people, but it is, we are running it as an active business. We won't be able to do everything, unfortunately, as much as we would like to. But we're going to be doing a lot more. I know a lot of people saw us at NARM or at NSL. We'll be involved with the NAR. It's fun around here, but there's still a lot of work. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done.
There always
of course,
is, right? Yeah. I was one thing that I thought was very interesting is right out of the gate, you guys brought back the catalog, and that was like a major coup on your part for your audience and for your customers. I thought that was really cool because everybody was so excited to get their hands on that Estes catalog once again. So what was the thinking behind when you decided to do that?
Well, a lot of what you just said actually was that we viewed that as a really valuable tool. And actually, the 2019 catalog, I don't know how long this is going to take before the show comes out, but we're about to. So this is the middle of February. We're about to send the catalog to the printer. So there'll be a 2019 catalog possibly by the time this show comes out.
First week of March.
Yeah, the plan is the catalog is going to be out the first week of March.
That's exciting.
That's probably about the time frame that this will be out. So perfect timing.
Yeah, good timing.
This catalog will be a return to classic catalogs. Our customers have been asking us for this for a long, long time. I think you all are going to be really pleased with this catalog. It's vastly different than anything you've seen in over a decade.
Ooh.
2 decades.
Nice.
Maybe 3.
Exciting. Maybe 3. Wow.
Yeah. This is, we have,
cool.
Our art department has been working on this a lot. There's been a lot of time trying to attract new people that we're trying, looking at some of the classic catalogs. There is a significant amount of explanation of how a rocket works.
Yes. Yep.
How do you, what do you need to get started so that you can, we kind of started with the idea of if you hand somebody a new Estes catalog, they should be able to figure out how to get started.
Cool.
At least on a basic level. That we're trying to remove the assumptions of what people know about rockets. Obviously, for the higher skill levels, that's there's a lot of more emphasis on what is unusual, what is unique about this rocket, what makes this particular rocket cooler than a skill level, a lower skill level. But especially on the introductory, how do you pick the right rocket? How big a flying field do you need? Is it obvious how to figure out how big a flying field you need?
Right.
So we've been thinking about all of those questions, and we think we're doing a lot better, and we welcome people's feedback so that the 2020 catalog can be even better.
That's one thing that I've noticed and I've really been pleased with is that it seems that you've returned the company to there's an educational component that you've brought back to the company, and that includes things like now selling the Handbook of Model Rocketry, which was of course written, Bill, by your father, and you did some co-authoring on the latest edition, which of course Estes never sold before, or at least hasn't sold since I've been in the hobby, and your promotion of STEM education stuff on social media, which I've noticed a lot on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, which I think is really great. It's more than just a company producing toys or something. There's actually an educational component, and I think that's really great.
We see the educational component as a very important part of both the business and the hobby. That look, as a business, we wouldn't exist without the hobby. People have thought about it as a toy in the past, and that has, in my view, that has never really worked out. That there have been, they'll get occasional sales bursts, but then it goes away, and people are on to the next, what's the next hot toy
thing? Because
every year it's different. Whereas a hobby is, you can get people involved for life. You need to, so we're trying to offer that progression. And, we even view this as a multi-generational thing, right? That this is, on some level, we're looking at the third generation of Rocketeers, right? That those are the people we're trying to recruit. We've got the people who started in the 60s, then we've got my generation, and now we're looking at, people who are third generation Rocketeers. And so trying to get kids, I mean, we hear all the time of people that kind of say, oh, I used to do that with my parents. My dad flew rockets with me. Now I want to fly rockets with my kids.
Exactly.
And
that's me too.
yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. That's me. That's Bill. Just a little, he's a little unusual in that his dad was the first one, but
You're right.
The one.
That's how you get things. That's how you get something that lasts for 60 years is you get that love. You get people who love it and come back to it. Obviously there's some people that stay in it all the time, and then there are some people that kind of cycle through, and you need both. And so we're trying to reach out to more of the people that cycle through. In our view, they need more help. They need more reminding, because as soon as you remind them, they say, oh yeah, we get a couple of calls a day, maybe, of people who, no, you guys were still around. I saw, somewhere, and wow, this is great. And I used to do this with my parents, and blah, blah, blah. And some of them, they can ramble on for several minutes, which is great. They're, it's really enthusiastic customers. We like those. And then some of them, they say, yeah. And in fact, I need another rocket, and here's my credit card. And that's the best kind of call, but
take my money, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's whatever we've noticed too is that it seems to be there's a lot of like cool kits that are starting to come out. Just a small example is the classic Saturn V, but it has a nice little value-added lunar module in there, which makes it kind of cool and stand out. And hopefully that's been a hot seller for you. I know everybody's getting them. So, but what do you have in mind for kind of your vision to some of the new kits as you explore and kind of bring people in and kind of get that synergy between the third generation and the first and second generations? We'll see as some of the stuff that you would like to be able to put out there, if you can talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I'd say the thing that we are pushing for is we're trying to design the next generation of classic rockets, right? So if you look at the things that people go searching on eBay for, what will people be looking desperately for in 20 years? And that's a really hard question. We're going to make a lot of kits, and we'll see which ones turn out to be the ones that people are searching for.
Throw it on the wall and see what sticks. Huh? That's great.
Hopefully we do a little better than that. But that is the direction that we've given our design team here is, come up with the next Class 6B. And that is something that comes up in design meeting, trying to figure out how do we get something that is unusual, some particularly attractive set of design features. The other thing that we are always trying to work on is what we call an exceptional customer experience. And we think those two need to work together. That it has to not only be cool, but it also has to work, right? One of the things that Estes does really well is we make flying model rockets, right? And so it has to not just look cool, it has to fly reliably, right? It has to be, you have to be able to put it together in a reasonable, and at the end of the instructions, it looks like what the package looked like, right? That you don't say, wow, how did this come out of this, right? You don't, that we give you enough, we give you, the customer, enough information to make a reasonable choice so that you don't end up frustrated and say, wow, this is way too hard. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But with, on the flip side, we also are trying to make sure that we have challenging kits for people to move forward in the hobby.
Right.
We're going to take a break here on the Rocketry Show, and we'll come right back with more from the folks from Estes Industries. We'll be right back right after this.
I have a question for you, my fellow Rocketeers. Are there times that you've looked into your drawer of miscellaneous doodads and parts that would be great to use for your rocketry projects? How about your old smartphone? Hi, this is Jim, and I've run into this very scenario. I was going through my bins of parts and stuff and found an old Android phone, and I thought it might be time to use this in a rocketry project, right? If you do have a spare Android phone lying around, I found this great app that can turn that Android phone into a full-featured rocket telemetry and video recording system. You can go to the Google Play Store and get the Insane Rocketry app. From InsaneRocketry.com, Jason Cook. It is really cool because you set it up in your rocket and fly as you normally would. But this app will give you real-time telemetry data right in the field that will also take video, and you can also help recover your rocket using Google Earth. Now, how cool is that? You guys got to check this out. InsaneRocketry.com and the Insane app for Android devices in the Google Play Store. InsaneRocketry.com.
Serious Rocketry. Since 1998, providing the Rocketeer with great kits, motors, supplies, and more. They have lots of products in their ever-growing web store with fast shipping, wide selection, and courteous service. You can check out the amazing and popular Serious Rocketry kits that harken back to the days of fun-to-build detailed kits that are more than just 3 fins and a nose cone. And Gene, what did you find?
Well, this rocket does have a nose cone 3 fins, but it also has a cluster for 3 24mm motors. This is the Lock Viper 3. It is a 2.6-inch diameter tube that goes... The length of the body tube itself is probably about 40 inches with a nose cone. And then in the back, there's 3 24mm motor mounts that are kind of clustered in there through a plywood retaining ring. So you've got a cluster. It's a very cool little rocket. Well, it's 47 inches tall when it's built. Got plywood centering rings, all good hard body tubes. It's a great rocket if you're looking for performance in a smaller package, I think. It's simple design, lightweight, looks really cool. It has an 18-inch parachute, and you could probably put 3 F motors in this thing and say goodbye to it if you wanted to. You're talking over 4,000 feet, roughly, according to Sims on it. But if you wanted to go something a little softer, you could certainly do 3 D12s, which would be one heck of a flight as well, with those nice long burn times that black powders always have. So it's a sweet looking rocket. It's simple, but it's just something that pushes the performance level a little bit. I know that, I like to kind of push the limits a little bit, and I started thinking about doing some clusters and other things. And this one just struck me as being a very cool little entry into a simple but awesome cluster that looks like it'll take a lot of punishment. It's locked, so you know that the fins are going to be nice and solid, that the rings are going to be plywood, that your tubes are going to be thick walled, that it's going to be a beast. And it comes with all the stuff you need, including the nylon parachute, the nylon shock cords, all that for $57.98. So I think it's a great little rocket, and I'm starting to get into the cluster thing. It'd be kind of cool.
Alrighty, Serious Rocketry's website features real-time stock tracking, which lets you order with confidence from their online store. No having to call or write to see if something is really in stock. When you're ready to fly, Serious Rocketry has motors and hardware in stock and ready to ship. From Estes through Aerotech High Power. You can ask them about their club specials, and you can visit their website at siriusrocketry.biz and .com. Serious Rocketry, for the serious Rocketeer. The Rocketry Show is also brought to you by the following patrons. JohnRocket.com, Joe S., Paul Olivieri, David Simmons, Sam Feinberg, Michael Aylward, Brian Schenkenberger, John K., E. Hudnell, John Thompson, Mark McBride, Doug Wade, C. McCauley, the Piedmont Student Launch Team, Steve S., and Timothy Hoagland. Your support is the fuel we need to get to more locations to see what is happening with rocketry events in your part of the world. Thanks for your support, and for those of you interested in becoming a supporter of the program, just visit patreon.com/TheRocketryShow. Lock Precision Rocketry manufactures a full line of high-quality precision fit components to meet your building, repairing, and customizing needs. Lock Precision believes in making rocket kits as light as possible while maintaining the strength required to fly with commercially available motors. Lock Precision offers a wide range of rocket kits from the 1-inch diameter Lock 1 series to high-power rockets reaching 7.6 inches in diameter. When you visit LockPrecision.com, be sure to check out their Performance Series kits featuring such designs as the Black Brand 10, the Caliper ISP, and the 3.1-inch diameter Iris rocket. All of Lock Precision's performance kits comes with everything you need, including pre-slotted airframes, high-grade precision-cut plywood fins and components, as well as ripstop nylon parachutes, rugged shock cords, polypropylene nose cone, and instructions. The name Lock Precision has been synonymous with mid and high-power rocketry for over 30 years. Check out LockPrecision.com to find out why. LockPrecision.com. Fly higher. Fly Lock. Welcome back to The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com. CG Jeem, the Rocket Noob, as well as Bill Stine and Ellis Langford from Estes. And there are very special guests on an episode we've been working really hard on. We had a little bit of connection issues going on during the first half of the interview here, so we've made some changes during the break. So hopefully things will be much better. So far, they're looking good. So we're going to carry on with the question and answer period, and I'll toss it back to Jeem here.
Okay, it was right before the break. We were talking about the company and the products and everything. I'd like to just focus on the people because when you guys came in, you brought a very strong pedigree crew with you guys that have a lot of experience in rocketry, a lot of experience with the NAR, and a lot of real world experience. Could you tell us a little bit about your team and some of the players that you have that you brought in?
Sure. Well, I guess I'd start by saying we have a couple of people that we inherited some very strong people that we have. I think we have now. It's now 5 people who have been here for 40 years.
Wow.
That the most recent one was just this month. And so that just the institutional knowledge and the team that has outlasted several ownership changes is fantastic, and we're really, really pleased to have some wonderful long-term Estes employees here. The flip side of having a significant number of people here for 40 years is that they're going to retire, right?
Yeah.
They keep trying to retire, and we keep saying, no, don't leave. But so we're bringing in new people. We've hired several people in the last year. And obviously I was the first one. And then Bill, I know a lot of some of your listeners will know Bill Stine, and more of them will get to know him in the coming years. But
cool.
So he has been, well, I'll let him tell about himself.
Well, I'm definitely a lifer. I have been an NER member since the night of my birth in 1960. I teethed on rubber model missiles, nose cones. Yeah. Under the tutelage of my father, been active in the hobby pretty much all of my life in one way or another. I actually started my professional career in model rocketry here at Estes in 1978. I was working for our sister company, Centuri Engineering, down in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And of course, all of Centuri kit and engine production was being done here at Estes at the time. And so I started here, and then I managed to migrate and be involved with just about every other serious model rocket company that either challenged Estes or took a different path. So I was involved, like I said, with Centuri. I was one of the partners in Enertech in the late 1980s. From there, I went and I worked with MRC and worked with them on a line of model rockets. Then I founded Quest. I had Quest for 23 years. Then actually had Quest, sold Quest, purchased it back, kept it for another 10 years, and then merged it with Aerotech RCS. And left there in 2015 and basically retired. And then I get this phone call from my good friend John Langford and Ellis, and with this crazy thing that they want to go buy Estes, and would I be interested in helping them? And this is not a fictitious story, but after they closed, I was here 3 weeks later.
Wow.
And that was 9 months ago now. So this was the one singular thing left on my bucket list. And it's such an incredible opportunity to be part of something where we finally are back to owners who get it.
Yes.
Right.
And want to do all the right things.
Oh, I think everybody in the community or in the hobby knows that, and it's been great because we've been getting a lot of feedback. Saying, when this whole thing happened, that was like, oh my God, Estes, we're saved. I mean, I work at a high school and I have a Turk team, and I start them off, building Estes rockets if they don't know anything, and to learn about stuff, to take them nice and easy through the process. And without those, and running summer camps, I mean, the thought of not having Estes A, B, and C motors, was a very, very hard thing for me to actually come to grips with. And then I realized I didn't have to, and boy, was my life a lot happier after that. So thanks again, guys, for that. But I really appreciate the STEM that you guys are looking, because most schools, as you probably already know, are focusing on the engineering and the STEM type education, and rocketry is a natural fit for that. I find it really easy to get kids excited about science by using rocketry as my vehicle, so to speak. So it works out very well. You got physics, you have engineering, you have mathematics, you have all that stuff, and you can pepper it in without them even knowing it. And then they're still having fun flying. So it's a great way to do it. And I think a lot of schools are realizing that. So this year, there's 830 TARC teams around the country that are all vying for that coveted 100 spot for the finals, and I'm one of them. And it's all and part of that is having Estes there, is to know that company is there, to know that background is there, and to know that history is there, and that pedigree, that I can just say, okay, I need a bunch of alpha kits and some C motors. Let's really kick them up, and that's the beauty of it. So on that, there's a couple of things that some of the guys on some of the patrons of the show have been asking is, there's any talk about the Pro Series? Because I know there's a lot of talk about the Pro Series and what a great thing it is and how cool it is. Are you thinking of expanding that, or anything to do with getting into those little bigger rockets for people?
We're thinking about it. Okay. We're trying to look at what is a sustainable way to make them. Okay. And so we are working on, I would say, some more interesting kits, and particularly we're working. We have some of our R&D time is going into what should the motor really look like. Right. We recognize that the E16 and F15 is not, they're good motors, they're not great motors. And we want to be, I mentioned earlier in the call that we want an exceptional customer experience, and we want that to include the Pro Series. And that, we're working on it. I don't have any specific announcements we can make now.
Really doing,
but yes, we're definitely we're working on it. There's just nothing ready to nothing. There's not even anything specifically ready to tease yet, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Well, I got to tell you, the F-15 motor is such a wonderfully long burn time. I love that motor. I've got a 29 millimeter helicopter thing, and that is the motor for that. If I put a composite motor in it, it's too fast, and it's too fast to burn. But with that F-15 motor, it's a beautiful burn, and it's just the smoke and just the sound of it. I love that motor. It's, the F-15 motor, if in the right rocket, it's just an amazing motor.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a good motor, and there's some things that it's really good for. But we're trying to make sure that we have the right mix of products, both engines and rockets.
Sure.
And so yeah, we're not dropping the line. It's not going to go away. We're just not sure exactly what it's going to look like. For the moment, it's going to look very similar.
Yeah. Well, we can tell you there's no new additions to that line in the new catalog. It's the same line, but it's still in there.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, like, the one rocket that I love, and I have I purchased about 5 of them, is the Estes Leviathan. When I got back into rocketry, that was the first rocket that I saw at the hobby store and said, "Wait a minute, this thing's huge." And because I just gotten back into the hobby, and I was looking for a rocket to build with my son, and there it was. And I have built several different variants of them, including a stretch one that's dual deploy that I fly I-200s in, and then smaller ones. It's such a cool rocket, and it's a real simple design. But the fact that it's so simple, it makes it genius, because I play with the color on it, just to make it fun. And it's just a great solid airframe with great fins and a great flyer for almost anything you put into it. And so, I love that rocket. I love all the other ones that you have, but that one in particular has been one of my personal favorites from the Estes line. And, I've got a few of them still in bags that I'm just holding on to. So, I have a build pile just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So as Ellis alluded to, our focus is, we recognize that we've had a lot of great products. And of course, we constantly are barraged with requests for bringbacks.
Right.
And we will continue on a reasonable rate to bring some classics back. But our real focus is the creation of the new classics.
Cool.
That's the ultimate in creativity. And we think that's far more sustainable than just continuing to bring back the same stuff over and over. That's not sustainable.
Sure. Some exciting new Estes kits. I mean, come on. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I mean, that's kind of neat. I like the idea of trying to make new classics and coming up with new designs, because I'll always have a little place in my bench for some Estes stuff, especially if it's new, and something like akin to the Interceptor, having a new model like that would just, kick butt, fly great, and then make you want to upscale it and do all that kind of crazy stuff from there. That's the kind of the mark of a good design.
Right. Yep.
So another facet to areas that we're paying attention to.
Well, I briefly, specifically mentioned the Interceptor. It's back now. So we've got a new version. So we're pretty excited.
Nice.
Yeah, I've seen people going nuts over that.
The other aspect we're trying to pay a lot of attention to is being current with what's happening in the real world. So, we've historically always had elements to our product line that were tied directly to the headlines in the newspapers of today.
Right.
And, we're moving in that direction again. Certainly this year, the headlines are, there's so much going on in the private industry, but we're also celebrating the Apollo 11 anniversary.
Absolutely.
So 2 really great products tied directly to that, with major investment on Estes' part, and big marketing efforts behind both of those products also.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier the Saturn V, the 1 to 100 scale. So it's not just a reissue of that we went through and replaced most of the tooling. So there's more detail, and there's more accuracy The wraps are better.
It's a better build.
Yeah, we changed the way that the S4B to service module transition is done. That's now a blow mold with a lot of detail on it. We redid the way that the escape tower is put together.
That's huge.
So it is still, make no mistake, it is still a large rocket and a challenging build, but it got a little easier. And we're pleased with the way that all of the work has been done. Actually, for some of the long time people who've been around a long time, some of this work was actually started by Mike Dorfler. This was one of the last things that he did.
Oh wow!
Wow!
Was he did some of the first few revisions, and the previous owners were not interested in us, and so we had John Boren here finish them up. And put them into production.
So I know that the Noob, you're working on that, right?
I just started building it yesterday. Well, when I say I just started building it, I just put a little CA around the inside of the tube, but I really started building it today. Put together the motor mount. I marked up the tube, and I'm pretty excited about this. This is a rocket that I think until recently I would have been too nervous to build, and I would have thought, oh, I'm not worthy of it yet because I don't have the skill to make it look right. But I put together a few challenging builds in the last year or two, and I've just decided that I'll just buy 2 of them, which is what I've done.
Great.
and I'll build the first one. I'll build the first one, and I'll try and do as good a job as I can. And if it's got a few flaws, I'll just fly the heck out of it, and eventually I'll build the second one, and maybe pick up a third one. Who knows? I'm very excited about it. I really like the transition you're talking about with all the extra detail, and it to me it looks like I've just having read through all the instructions, which I rarely do, but I did with this one.
Kind of need to, yeah.
You kind of need to. I think I see where it's challenging, but it's definitely doable, and I think it's not something where you can't do it. I mean, even if you're not the best builder, it's if you follow the instructions, you'll get a Saturn V that you can fly. And it's I think it's a great kit, and I'm looking forward to picking up some of the other scale, the Little Joes, and I've already got the Mercury Redstone, which I haven't started yet, but so the Saturn V is the first, and it's the first. Well, this is the first rocket that I've started in a long time because I had a bunch on my build shelf that I had to finish. Told myself I'd finish before, and we have a baby, so I don't have as much build time as I would like. So I finally yesterday and today started to build it. While he was taking a nap, and he took a nice long nap today, so I got a little bit of stuff done. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this rocket. I have until July 20th to build it. We have a big launch, and I'm really looking forward to taking it out. And I'm also looking forward to the 1/200th scale because even though I like building stuff, there's something appealing to me about pulling a finished Saturn V out of the box.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, I can gift one to a friend of mine who is a terrible builder, but really would love a Saturn V, and I don't have the time to build him one. So
I think this might make a good point here to make take another break on this show here, and we'll come back in just a few moments here on The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com. And we've got a few more. We've got more questions actually to go, and we'll be right back to hopefully get those all answered. We'll see you shortly.
Looking for unique rockets to add to your fleet? Check out Andrew's Rocketry Shop. Andrew's Rocketry Shop features great kits like the Crazy Cluster. Standing 5 feet tall and 2.5 inches in diameter, this rocket can reach altitudes of up to 2,000 feet. This rocket features a cluster of 3 24mm motor mounts, Kevlar shock cord, and nylon parachute recovery. Only $59.99. Available at erockets.biz. Looking to build that rocket that you've been designing for some time now? Well, your design can become a reality with ARSrockets.com. They stock all kinds of model rocket parts and accessories, as well as their line of the Extreme Parachute Series, available from 9 to 60 inches in diameter. Andrew's Rocketry Shop. High-quality kits, parts, and accessories at the most reasonable prices. Check us out on the web at arsrockets.com.
The Rocketry Show is also brought to you by the following patrons: Mark, Digit, T. Jockum, Andrew Bracken, P. Calvin, Roy Tyson, Rob Hoagie, R. Smith, Carl Hunting, Jay Pullman, Chad Zappa, Don J., G. Smearden, M. Erisman, C. Shremko, J. Bryant, Hughes LaRouche, and Pierre Marlou. While the Rocketry Show is supported by commercial sponsors, they do not cover all of the costs of doing the show. This is why we appreciate the support of patrons like you. Thank you. To find out more, just go to patreon.com/The Rocketry Show. North Coast Rocketry, one of the first high-power rocketry kit companies ever, takes advantage of over 30 years of high-power experience by a world-class rocketeer. You can look to North Coast Rocketry to expand your high-power rocket fleet. In addition to great kits, North Coast Rocketry also stocks lots of must-have items and accessories for every rocketeer's workshop. Find out more about these kits and other great products today. Go to northcoastrocketry.com. And while you're there, don't forget to get their latest catalog, northcoastrocketry.com. Advanced rockets that are easy to build, fun to fly, and look great on display. It's time for eRockets.biz. eRockets.biz is your home for unique model rocket kits, as well as the world's largest selection of model rocket parts from Semrock. They've been around since 2009, and they don't just stock many of your favorite in-production kits, but they also produce their own versions of popular out-of-production models that many of you have come to enjoy over the years. You can also buy kits and all that from other vendors as well, and I think, Daniel, you're going to treat us with a good kit here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to talk about the Estes Saturn V. Ooh. That is the Apollo 11 50th Anniversary Edition Estes Saturn V, which I am currently in the process of building. It is a scale kit. It's a skill level 4, I think. It might be a skill level 5. It is... It's one of those builds that I think people get intimidated by, but if you take it one step at a time, you're going to get a really nice rocket out of it. And eRockets has that rocket. You're going to save $22.50 on that rocket because it's going to be $67.49 as opposed to the Estes retail price of $89.99. It is a nice big 4-inch diameter or nearly 4-inch diameter rocket. Flies on 24mm motors if you don't fiddle with it. And just build it stock, and it's gorgeous. It's got some really nice vacuum form wraps to give it a lot of nice detail, and it's got really the if you've ever built one of the Estes Saturn V's, the previous ones, it doesn't have the weird fins on it. It's just got a 2-part fin that you glue together. It doesn't have the weird, sort of vacuum form or whatever it was. Right. The fins. It's the wraps now are vacuum form. The fins are nice and solid and really nice and solidly put together. And it comes with F1 engines for display, but you take those out to fly the rocket. And it's a very nice kit, big and tall. I've got mine sort of dry fit together, assembled together, and sitting right next to me. And I dry fit the capsule and escape tower. Basically that whole bit there, just to see what it would be like, because I know that sometimes those little tower spars on some kits are hard to put together. These actually fit together just perfectly, and you can just dry fit them whole thing together and see what it's going to look like. And it's going to be a sick looking rocket. I'm very excited about this. While you're at it, you might also check out the Little Joe 2, which was part of the Apollo program. That rocket retails for $40.49. And that's a nice big fat rocket. I think it's also, I'm going to guess it's also about 4 inches in diameter. It's a pretty big one. And it's got a nice big Apollo capsule on that because they're just dealing with that portion of the rocket. So these two, if you got to get yourself a Saturn V before July 20th of this year, because that's the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and everybody's going to have one. You don't want to be the person without a Saturn V of some kind or another. And this Estes kit is a great kit, and you get it at eRockets for only $67.49.
All right, and if you need parts for your own custom builds, that's not a problem at all, because eRockets.biz also supplies the Semrock line of airframes, nose cones, centering rings, motor mounts, and so much more. eRockets has more rocket parts available than anyone else on Earth. You can check out eRockets.biz today to learn more. eRockets.biz. If rocketry scares you, buy a train set. Welcome back to the program. CG Jean, the Rocket Noob, and the new owners of Estes. And so we're going to jump right back into it. I know we've got a lot of questions that came in, so we'll see how far we get on this episode of the program. And I'll turn it back to Jim, who's the keeper of all the questions.
We've collected some questions from our listeners out there, so thanks for sending those in, guys. So I'll just read these verbatim, if you don't mind. Got a question here that starts out, the local hobby shop here, Hood River Hobbies, normally ordered from Hobbyco and Squadron for rocket motors. This should be a pretty simple question. Who are they supposed to order through now since Hobbyco is kaput?
We have a variety of distributors. The easiest one is probably Horizon. Horizon is carrying, basically has taken over a lot of Hobbyco's. Obviously, they took over Hobbyco's buildings and a decent number of their employees. So they're carrying the full line. We have a variety of other distributors. In Oregon, I think there's a couple of them that are on the West Coast. Cal Hobby, HRP, Heartland is in the Midwest, and we have a variety on the East Coast, but that's probably not as applicable to the ones to the specific question in Oregon.
Okay. So yeah, obviously, having that line of distribution makes it better for you guys to get that product out there to the customers. So
yeah,
makes sense.
And people can always order direct. EstesRockets.com. We'll ship it to your house. We'd be happy to.
That's the way I usually order from you guys. So, or my local hobby shop, because I do like to frequent them and keep the love. So,
and get a t-shirt and a hat too. I love that.
Right.
The local hobby shops are great. We think they're an important part of making it a hobby, as opposed to just an activity. That they're a good way to, be involved with clubs and get advice, even on an informal basis of, all kinds of things. And so, no, we really like local hobby shops. So.
I kind of find it fun because it's a little bit of a throwback to when I was a kid, and hanging out. And also, I found myself being, the rocket guy. So anytime I'm in there and somebody has a rocketry question, I always end up talking about it, which, hey, that's part of the experience for me. So I do love going in there and talking to the guys and kind of getting the word out there that rocketry is probably the best hobby on the planet, but I might be biased in that. So anyway.
That sounds right.
That sounds about right to me, yeah.
That's what I figure, So anyway, let's move on to another question. And this is from another listener. It says, I am curious, will we ever see a black powder G engine from Estes? I really enjoy using the Pro Series 2 29mm E&F motors and would love to see a G added to the lineup. Composite motors are cool, but I have always preferred the smooth, long burn of a black powder motor. I'm also dying to see what amazing designs John Bourne would create for an engine like that.
So that's tricky. The limit there is the 62.5 grams of black powder for shipping.
Right.
So we would love to, but we're not quite sure how to make that work yet. But that plays into the Pro Series 2 general question that we talked about a little bit earlier.
Right.
So I don't know.
I'll tease them a little bit. Okay. Look, our core competency is making black powder engines. Okay.
Absolutely.
And we do it really well.
Yep.
there has been an incredible amount of research done here over the last 50 years. Some of it was utilized and some of it wasn't.
That's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah. And so, to be real honest with you, there are a number of incredibly cool black powder engines that you guys would you'll love them. You'll just love them. Okay. And then it'll completely overshadow that it's not a G.
Right.
There are some really cool ENFs that they're just going to knock your socks off. You'll be really happy.
Oh, I'm so excited about this.
Right? Even smaller ones. I mean, look, there's a B64 is not the only type of B imaginable.
Right.
We're working on others.
I love that self-edit.
Wow, that's a beautiful tease, man. You got us all sitting here going, oh. That's awesome.
I know we're going through listener questions, but motors is first of all, I know motors is your bread and butter, but I'm just kind of, I'm really curious to see what you guys are going to come up with. Because I love what you've got already. I like the F-15. I like the C-65. I really liked the E9 before it went away. I know that they have a bit of a reputation for caterwing. I never had that problem. But I'm also excited to see what other kind of stuff you guys got coming down the line, because I always like a new motor and oh boy, I can't wait. I know you can't say anything. I get the hint, but I'm super excited to see what's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah,
you spoke for us.
Just briefly, the E9 specifically, it was not a consistent problem. It was a problem. Basically, it was a problem with the ones made in the winter.
Okay.
And so we went and worked on it some more, and we came out with the E12. But
great
so
motor.
we are working on it. We are working on all of this. We're always trying to improve things. But
believe it or not, we build and fly an awful lot of rockets here all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the weather.
That's a lot of people would consider that a dream.
Scrub a launch is a really windy day.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, or the local fire marshal.
Yeah.
But we have specific. We have an in. We talk to him all the time, and so we when it's a total fire ban, we can't fly, but we we do as much as we can, and it's a lot. We fly a lot. We burn a lot of engines out here,
as you should.
R&D.
There's absolutely. I mean, you have to know what you're putting out there, right? And a lot that does involve a lot of research and a lot of time and a lot of money involved to get that right. And and you guys, we know that you've been doing it for 60 years. I mean, ever since the days of Mabel, and that story was great when Vern was saying that at NSL. Just the whole story was really cool, and it gave a lot of people insights into Estes, which I never knew about, and it's kind of a special thing. So, back into one of the questions, a real simple one.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Quick question: do you guys know whatever became of Mabel?
No, unfortunately. The oldest thing we have on the property is actually a shed that Vern got from his parents in the fireworks industry. That his parents did fireworks, and when he was starting this, moving down here to Penrose, he brought an old fireworks shed down with him, and it's still here.
Okay,
cool. So I know Vern is still an active member on the board, I believe. Is he providing you guys input and insight into how things are? Or are you kind of making it a collaborative effort, or what does that relationship feel like?
Vern is great. Vern is, as everybody who has spoken to him recently knows, he is incredibly sharp.
Yes.
And, look, when we brought him in for the first board meeting, he asked a few questions about things that were buried far down in some of the court documents from the bankruptcy that I'm pretty sure he and the lawyers were the only ones that ever read that far. He was asking questions that, just very specific, detail-oriented questions that showed he had, no kidding, read all 100 and some odd pages of this. And that's the level of attention to detail that he brings to everything. And so we've had him involved with, a variety of things. One of his biggest focuses, of course, is safety. That is, the safe manufacture of rocket engines. That's what he started the company with. And so bringing, having him, things, we've made a variety of improvements. He made a variety of improvements, was always improving Mabel, and these are several generations beyond that. But we're still looking at, how can we make this safer? How can we make it so that we can reliably produce rocket engines for all of our many customers?
Very cool. That's got to be neat, because you all have a lot of history in the hobby, and to be actually collaborating with Vern, and I assume Glita as well, and keeping this company rolling has got to be just an amazing experience to be in that room, I would think.
Yeah, it is. Actually, so it was, we had Vern and Glita here a little while ago, and Glita's office has not been used in quite a while, and so Glita was actually telling us her office is relatively untouched in at least 20 years, maybe 40 years.
Wow!
And so Glita was telling how she had it set up and what was the changes that had been made, and that was really fun to have her.
Wow!
Obviously, Vern's office. I'm kind of been toying with putting two nameplates on my door that say Vern, original Vern's office or something like that. I figured out what the wording it looks like. But.
Cool. That's awesome. So, I've got one question here that's kind of fun. I'm going to mention the guy's name on this one just because it kind of requires it. When are they going to hire me? This is from Douglas Schrocks. Thought I'd throw that in.
He's not working for us?
I don't know. That's the question he sent in.
Are you sure? Interesting question. Maybe that's an old one.
This question came in a while ago, I believe. Yeah.
I thought I'd throw that in just for fun.
So did you just answer the question?
Maybe I did.
Oh, okay. All
right, fair enough. Moving on. The last question that I have that I would like to ask on behalf of all the people out there that make this show possible is, any plans to bring back the C11? And that's a cool little motor, actually pretty big motor, actually a lot of kick on it. I always fly my Estes V2 with that one.
Yeah, we have a few left. We're looking at what the right way to distribute them is. So they're actually one of the motors that we're considering. So the short answer is yes, they will be available. We're not sure exactly how, because we're trying to figure out what is a reasonable way to distribute them. Not every shop wanted to carry them because they just a lot of places just didn't sell enough.
Those are such great motors, right? And it could be a case of like when I had a design that I spec the C11 for, I loved it, but it was a very specific rocket. And when I moved on to other things, I didn't have a reason to use it, but I love the motor, so maybe that's what.
That's exactly it. And that's one of the things that we're working on. How do we make the whole system work? How do we make cool rockets that will use the motors, and how do we market them? How do we get them into the hands of our customers so that they will go turn around and be rocketry evangelists and get more people into the hobby and have more rockets? because ultimately producing these rocket engines is a matter of scale that we turn out, depending on the engine, we can do 1,000 engines an hour.
Wow.
So it's, but that means we got to have a lot of customers. That machine doesn't work real well if you only run it a little bit.
Gotcha.
So that is the dilemma on the C11, which we're trying to work through in a way that, because it's a great motor, especially for relative, largish rockets in small fields.
Yes.
Yep. That's exactly it.
We have a egg lofter that's coming out this fall that'll use it.
Oh, thank God. Oh yeah. I need egg lofters for my summer camps. So that's music to my ears, because you got your alphas, you got your wizards, you got all the cool little kits, but an egg lofter is the pinnacle of my camp. And it's like, I rely on those things. We have a little mini TARC contest. So thank you for that.
Perfect. Well, it's available in a bulk pack.
I figured it would be. That's awesome. Oh,
Cool.
that just solved my quandary, because I'm running out of the Quest ones that I've got.
New and improved.
We'll be there for you.
Awesome. No,
Excellent.
you know what? I honestly believe that. It's like you guys you've been seen as like white knights to the hobby. And there's a lot of people that are grateful for what you guys are doing. And, and to hear some of the insights of what you're talking about with the research and development, I mean, there's got to be a lot of time and effort going into that to make it right. And that's a heavy investment. So, in order to do that and then actually run it as a business and take all that R&D and put it to good use and get the product out there, it's got to be a daunting task. But we're there, and we're going to keep on like looking to you guys for guidance and stuff. There's one thing I would like to just briefly touch upon is like your educational information, the packets for teachers, and all of the tech stuff reporting that you guys have had out there. That has been a pretty powerful tool for teachers and guys that are running summer camps and things like that. Do you have any immediate plans to change, update, do anything with that, or keep that resource going as it is? Because it's a very valuable tome of knowledge. I mean, it's literally thousands of pages of stuff, and I've delved into it many times to look for something that I need to do for a particular session. How are you guys planning on keeping that?
Yes.
So the broad answer is yes. The specific answer is we are in the process of updating our curriculum and lesson plans. The first one is actually complete, and we'll be attending the NSTA National Convention in early April and unveiling that new curriculum there to the educators and teachers. And then that'll be followed on with basically the update of all of the rest of it. As you mentioned, it's a very vast library. So the scope of the project is it's a several-year project.
I believe it.
And by the time we get done, we'll probably have to start over because the standards will have changed. But,
it's life, right?
Exactly.
But one of the things that we're also doing beyond just the basics of the lesson plans and everything else is we're introducing modern technology into all of this. So you'll see a lot of video and animation used with this.
Nice. That's cool.
We have,
I always put videos up while they're building and stuff.
We have a significant refresh of our website coming soon. And that is you'll start to see more new content rolling out on our website. Both with a lot of informational content on the specific rocket. So we're going to have more. One of the things we want to do is, not both point out cool features of the rocket, but also try to help you be able to do them well, right? So, for example, the Little Joe 1, the way that those fins are built is pretty cool with the little built-up balsa structure inside under a cardstock cover. But it's not a thing that a lot of people have done before, and so we're going to try to have a little, some sort of way of explaining that in a way that both points out how cool it is, but also helps you get it right.
A little practical with a little theory. I love it.
Ellis, earlier you used the term that I actually use sometimes, and it's rocketry evangelist. And one of the things that I think is really, really important that I don't necessarily think all of us grown up Rocketeers are always as good at as we should be, is spreading the word and getting younger people involved. But you seem to be really interested in getting younger people involved in the hobby with the educational component, but also as a hobby. And I'm just sort of wondering, what sorts of things are you doing or are you planning on doing to get more young people involved in the hobby and to sort of spread the good word that this is the best thing that people could be doing with their time and money?
We're starting a lot of different projects. Trying to decide which ones we want to talk about here.
Well, you can certainly talk about the 5302 and its reason for being and how that's helping.
Yeah. So just an aside, Bill referenced a specific kit here, the Rocket Science Starter Set, available at Targets nationwide.
Cool.
And that so it has a rocket in it, which is very similar to an Alpha 3. And it has 3 engines, an A, a B, and a C, and it has we call it the tracking scope, I think, but it's a theodolite that is made as simple as possible. And so you can measure the altitude of the rocket, and you can compare how much higher the B went than the A and the C went than the B. And then you can buy another one because you flew it in too small a field with the C.
Yeah.
But, or if it's calm enough, you just go buy another pack of engines, which makes us happy too. And then you keep flying it, because the Alpha 3 is really quite a durable little rocket. But so that is the first of that one came out about 2 years ago, shortly before I bought the company here. But we're trying to expand that line into what is one of the things we're working on is what does a rocket science fair in a box look like? We're trying to figure out how can you get kids enthusiastic about using rockets for different kinds of to answer questions.
Okay.
The first one everybody asks is, how high did it go? But that's not the only possible question to ask of a rocket. We're going to be revamping our electronic altimeter to try to have that be a little more useful and widely used. That's a very easy way to get data, although there is certainly some appeal to learning the trigonometry of how to reduce a tracking scope data into an actual altitude, which is the first time you actually make it work is kind of cool.
It is.
Really gives you
kind of a neat sense of it.
Yeah.
I have a couple of the Altitracks, the older ones that I use for camp, and they've proven to be quite useful for, that's exactly how I use them, just to teach them a little bit of math, and then they get actual data, and that actually excites them to move on to try something else and to move on somewhere higher than where they were. So that's always a good draw.
One of the fun experiments that I did in my rocket camp with my kids is, I taught them to use the Altitrack and basically tricked them into doing a little bit of math.
Right.
But we did a little test where we flew a rocket. We had an altimeter in it. We had an Altitrack station, and we tracked all of our rockets with Altitracks. And but I had one built that had an altimeter bay in it. And so we did three things. Basically said, okay, guys, guess how high that went. And everyone would, so somebody said, 100 feet. Somebody said 1,000 feet. It probably went about 200 feet because we were flying on A engines at a small parking lot. And then we would compare guesses with the Altitrack data, and then we would compare the Altitrack data with the altimeter data. And, so say, okay, so what's the difference between the Altitrack data and the altimeter data, and what makes it so that what would cause the error or the difference between the Altitrack data? And you just sort of get them thinking, like, well, the wind was blowing this way, and the rocket flew this way, and even though the angle is like this, that's not, it wasn't straight up, and etc. So it's a really fun activity, and it gets them. First of all, they like the flying the rockets, and they like writing down the numbers, and they like trying to see who flew the highest. But then it gets them thinking about these things, and that's I think that's it's really great. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, you give them those tracking stations and little walkie-talkie two-way radio, and
the walkie-talkies are the best.
Yes,
love they are. And then you rotate them around so everybody has a chance to do different stations. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get excited doing that. That's the funnest. That part is rotating the kids through each, like doing the RSO duties, doing the LCO duties, doing the tracker duties. And some of the kids just love to run and recover them. So more power to them.
Yes.
Most people don't realize that rocketry is a track and field event.
That's true.
I keep on trying to have my school consider the rocketry team an athletic sport, because we are a competitive team and we do a lot of running around. That would be cool to have a little letter jacket with a little rocket on the letter,
That would be cool.
Wish me luck. I'm not giving up on that. You guys want to add anything to what we've already discussed, or mention anything at all?
We're really excited about the future of rockets, and we're really glad to, have people, have all of you guys so excited, and all of your audience, be engaged with rocketry. We think it's a great hobby, and we're really pleased to have everybody involved.
It's
you guys
fantastic.
keep buying the rockets, and we'll keep making them here.
Yeah, music's
I can't stop. I can't stop buying Estes rockets. I have a huge build pile, and I've still got some on my wish list. So
yes,
I actually do have a question.
Okay,
I actually do have a question. Are you guys going to be represented at NARCon this year?
Yeah.
Good.
I think.
Cool. Well, I'll meet you.
We'll all say hi.
Yeah, we'll be there.
And we'll be at TARC and at NARM.
Nice.
Oh, great. I'm going to be at NARM as well.
I hope to see you at TARC. Hopefully I'll be at TARC and I'll say hello.
My parents, I'm from Indiana. My parents live in Indiana, and I went to school in Muncie. So it's a good excuse to go to NARM. I actually can drop the baby off my parents' place.
Nice. It's actually not that far from us.
No, it's not. We should all go.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to try and compete this time.
Really?
Cool.
Cool.
Never done. Yeah, never done.
If anybody can compete, I know it's you.
Well, we'll see. I'll be glad just to fly some things, because I haven't flown much this year. But yeah. So.
Alrighty. Well, I guess on that note, we'll thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us, guys. This has been great. This made our year.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
Let's do it again.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. We'd love to hear down the road as things come out, have you on and talk about some of the new stuff that you guys are cooking up.
Yeah.
You're always welcome to share any information. We've got a couple of manufacturers that have an open invitation. They can come on and, spout out whatever it is they want to spout out, and feel free to be one.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm real excited to see what you guys have cooking up. This is seriously, when you guys bought the company, I know, I'm sorry, at this point we're trying to wrap up, but I'm you guys buying, Ellis, your family buying this company was the best news I had in a long time, because when I found this hobby, this was a thing that I got an Estes kit when I was a kid. I never flew it because I didn't think I was good at building stuff. And then when I found the same kit in a Target, about 6 years ago, my first thought was, I didn't think people still did this. And I texted a friend. I said, hey, you want to fly some model rockets sometime? He said, sure. And about a year later, we went out and he had some. And so then I thought, well, I should build my own. And then I became obsessed. And I, for the first time, had a hobby that I really enjoyed. And it added so much to my life. And I just loved it. I mean, I've had interests before, but nothing where I've actually just, I've been doing this for 4.5 years. Yeah, I got sucked in. And I started writing the blog. And then these guys contacted me. And now I'm on the show. And I've gotten to do all kinds of really cool stuff and talk to really great, interesting people. And it's not something where I did it for a few months and got bored with it. And so when, the bankruptcy happened, I was a little heartbroken. I was like, if this doesn't go right, I don't know what I'm going to do, because this is my thing now. And so when you guys bought the company, it was just like, I was ecstatic. I mean, my wife could tell you that I was moping around for a couple of months, trying not to think about it too much, But then when I heard that you had bought the company, I think I might have been at work or something, and I saw the notification, and I had a great day at work, and I came home and I was in a great mood. And she's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Somebody bought Estes, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so awesome." I'm just super, super pleased, and super pleased with everything you've done so far. Love to see all the stuff you've got on social media. I mean, you've got a really active Instagram and Twitter account now, which I really like. That you're engaging with younger people through those media, and I just love it. I'm so glad. So glad you did that.
To your whole comment about the rocketry community being so worried about what the outcome of the bankruptcy in Estes would be.
Yeah.
So one of the measures of a very powerful brand is how much you would be missed if you went away.
Exactly.
And Estes is a very, very powerful brand, and we're thankful for all of you making it that way. And what Ellis and I are saying is we're going to carry it on.
Oh, thank goodness.
We love it.
Great.
That's such good news for everybody. And I'm sure, like having you guys at the helm, it's like, you guys are rocket people. Yes. It's thank you. And it's been an absolute treat talking to you guys. So thank you.
Bill, do you have any plans for an 8th edition of the handbook?
You know what? The publisher is interested, but I don't have time right now.
Uh-oh. You're gonna have to retire again.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. I have no immediate plans to do anything but this, and this is somewhat all-consuming at the moment.
That's great. We like to hear that. So, and we're glad that you're doing it.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, please.
We love you.
Thanks, guys.
And on that note, continued success, and thanks for being on the show with us.
You're welcome.
Introducing Mach 1 Rocketry, the creators of a new line of fiberglass kits with amazing designs and solid construction that'll last a lifetime. Mach 1 Rocketry, the fiberglass specialists. We don't make anything else. Now you can fly low power with less worries about crashes and wet weather. Check out our BT-sized kits with filament-wound airframes and 1/16-inch G10 fins and G10 centering rings. These rockets are tough enough to take the punishment of many flights. And when you're ready to step up to high-power rockets, Mach 1 Rocketry has a complete line of exciting new fiberglass kits. Check out old favorites and great new designs as well, like the Black Hole, an instant classic, easy to build, tough, and inexpensive. The triple crown of rockets from Mach 1 Rocketry, the only manufacturer of fiberglass BT-sized rockets in the world. Visit us online at Mach1Rocketry.com. That's Mach, the number 1, Rocketry.com. Kits by flyers, for flyers. Step up today.
TheRocketryShow.com wants to hear from you. We would like to introduce the Rocketry Show comment line. Just call 216-245-0855 to leave a comment, message, or questions for the show. Your question or comment just might spark a conversation on an upcoming podcast. Give it a try. We'd love to hear from you. 216-245-0855. No question or comment will be left behind. Hey, leave us a message today. Alrighty, welcome back to The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com. After a great interview with Ellis Langford and Bill Stine.
Incredible.
Wow, great stuff, yes.
I mean,
unbelievable.
Just the time that we put in like working, getting these guys to come on and just making sure that everything was right for them. And it's really, it's like this whole weight has been lifted off my shoulders because I know that this one's been coming and I've been working and trying to get them to come on and stuff. So I am very, very happy that we were able to have a great show from this. And as of course, we will invite them back again and they are welcome anytime. So what a great show. What did you guys think?
Oh, I loved it. I liked the little tidbits about the Saturn V.
Yeah, we couldn't tell that you loved that, Daniel.
And, I'm looking forward to meeting these guys at NARCon. Hope they'll have time to, chat with us briefly. I'm pretty pumped. Since we recorded a few days ago, I've made quite a bit of progress on the Saturn V. When I say quite a bit, I don't mean it's nearly built, but I've definitely made some strides. I've done a little bit of work on it each day, and I'm hoping to have this thing done well before July. I tend to build a little slowly, but I'm trying not to take forever on this one. I want to make it look nice, but I'm trying to, just up my production a little bit. And this is a nice kit. It's a nice rocket. Yeah, it's more detailed than I think anything I've built so far, but it's also big. So, it's not like I have a bunch of little tiny fiddly parts that I have to deal with. So, it's a great looking rocket. And I just, put a shroud together and I taped one of the vacuform wraps in place just to see what it looked like. And man, it's such a cool looking rocket. It's gonna look sweet.
Nice.
Got to get you that really thin CA to get those wraps on, huh?
Yeah, I haven't decided what I'm gonna use yet. I mean, some people use spray adhesive. I saw somebody recommend a sort of a foam glue called Foam Tack or Fabra Foam or something like that. I bookmarked that. What I'm doing is as I cut away pieces of the wraps, is I'm saving those. Don't throw those away because then what I'm going to do is I'll probably try a couple different adhesives and just attach them to some scrap body tube and see what I like working with the best. This is one of those things where it's a kit that I think intimidates people if they have not built a lot of really difficult, challenging kits because first of all, it's a little more expensive. It is it's big and beautiful, and it's one of those ones you want to do right. You don't want to screw up. And and I understand that, but the thing is, like, there are some rockets where if you wait until you feel you'll do it justice or you'll be ready, you'll deserve the rocket, you'll never actually build it. And so I'm building it, and I'm putting my build process online slowly, just a little bit at a time, just to show people that you may make mistakes, but if you follow the instructions, even if you haven't built a rocket of this level before, you're gonna get a rocket that will fly. You may make some mistakes, and they will probably make you really mad in the moment. But once the rocket is built, you won't even notice it. And then you can build another one. So based on what you've learned, you can build another one and make it look better.
You do have 2 of them. I know that.
Yeah, I have 2 of them. I actually have 3 of them, actually. I have one of the earlier versions that I bought just before it went out of production. And I haven't even opened it yet. And then these came out, and I thought, well, I got to have that lunar module. And come to find out that the kit has changed a bit. And so... yeah, so I've got this one. I can screw up if something goes horribly wrong or it just crash lands or what have you. I've got some backups.
There you go. That's cool. I do have the Apogee 5.5-inch diameter Saturn that is in a box that I got for Christmas. Wow. So I'm gonna be working on getting that. So it's still in the box. Unfortunately, I've been busy, but I got to get that done for summertime. So that's my summer Saturn. Yeah. Summer of Saturn. Yeah. Hey, there we go. It's going to be the summer of Saturns. Let it be known.
Sure is. And then there's the lock precision, 7.5 inch diameter,
Oh, yeah.
5 motor cluster. Oh man, wow.
And there's been a big demand for that. So yeah, the guys at Lock are always they are really on fire, man, coming up with that stuff. And the conical, like the transition piece, is made out of fiberglass, and the cowlings for the F1s. That's pretty cool. That is definitely a Saturn that demands respect. Although it doesn't have the wraps, it's more of a sport model. So that. So it'd be interesting to come up with something. I like the detail on the Saturns though for like Estes though. So but who knows?
Very good. And speaking of Narcon, we mentioned Narcon before. This episode will be dropping in time for many of you to listen to it on the way to Narcon. So hope you're doing that, or on the way back from Narcon. Either way. And so one thing that's going to be really cool here is that this will be the first time that Jim and Daniel have met each other in person. Believe it or not, they've never met each other before.
We're
person. Not the same person. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to having all of us in one spot to do a show. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Well, even though we're going to be running around and doing stuff, but you get the idea.
Well, we'll have a setup at in somewhere in the vendor area or in the lobby. I originally said the vendor, but I want to see if there's a way we can get into a different space as well, possibly, maybe. So you'll see us around in one spot or the other all together, and we'll have a setup there. So I have a feeling that if I set it all up and everybody's there, that right there would probably be a show unto itself.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yes. Alrighty. Well, on that note here, we're going to wrap it up here on this program. Nice long show for all of you. And and on that note, Gene?
Keep your eyes in the skies.
All right, we'll see you next time. And hopefully we'll see many of you at NARCon 2019. So we'll see you then.